Greetings and welcome to another episode of our 67th homecoming anniversary. As we continue our endeavors, our programming, and our interviews, we'd like to say thank you for all of those that continue to come and join these interviews. But today we have a special guest with us. Her name is Vida Murdock, Sister Vida Murdock, who is one of our founding fathers of the homecoming events here at Capital City Seventh-Day Adventist Church. But let me not talk about her. Let her talk about herself and introduce herself. Give everyone a little background of about herself, her career, and her coming into the church.
So I'm glad that Stephen said Vida, because that is my name, Vida. Because so many people, when I first came to the United States, so many people called me Vida. I was told that I needed to speak English, and they changed my name because it's spelled V-I-D-A. They changed it from Vida to Vida. But my name is Vida. That's my name, birth name. So my name is Vida Murdock. I am currently married to Donald Murdock. We have 3 children. We have been married for over 47 years. We came into the United States in the 70s and came up to Albany in 71. And we've been here since then. At the Capital City Seventh-Day Adventist Church. And there is so much that I could say about Capital City. As you heard earlier, the people that's been there was some that was here prior to me in the 50s, and I thank them for that. I thank them for that, for the things that they have done back in the 50s that led us to where we are right now, from Capital City on South Lake Ave to where we are right here at 168 South Allen.
All right. Well, good to hear that you're still here over 47 years. So one thing, let's just keep, I know you served many positions at the church. Right now, currently, you serve as the community service leader. Mm-hmm. There's multiple positions all throughout that you've served. So let's talk about those positions.
So from what I can remember, I was the youth leader at one time, the lower division leader, the hospitality leader, the women's ministry leader, Vacation Bible School, which I loved. Out of all the positions that I had, was the Vacation Bible School leader. And I am now currently the Adventist Community Service Director.
All right. So let's talk about homecoming. You've been talking about that. We've been talking about this homecoming series for a long time, and when we talked about it since 2024, you showed us stuff from 2002, 2012, and now again 2025. So let's talk about the homecoming evangelistic efforts. How it came about.
So not just the homecoming with the homecoming, but many years ago we had, there were times every summer, from what I can recall, we had choir days. Mm-hmm. And so the choir days brought the community together. Mm-hmm. It brought everyone, not just Adventists from the south to the north, the Baptists, whomever. So we all came as a community, and we were able to interact with each other. And that just, as a young person seeing that, it just made me think of all the times that we were together. And not just that, I think of my mom, when I came back to Albany, because my husband was in the military, and when I came back to Albany, I didn't come to church for a couple of years. I wasn't active in the church. And so my mom would always invite me to these choir days. And that was a way for me to come back into the church. So that stayed with me to this day, that we need to just invite people, even if it's just something to say, come on, we're having this program. And that's why I'm back in the church. because of the invitation that she would give me to come to the choir day. That was one way of saying, I need you back in the church. And I've always said that what pattern, that I'm going to pattern that and just keep doing it. And not just that, you have other people that's been here, that's away now, that would call me up and says, hey, when are we having a homecoming? I want to come back home.
Come back home.
And so I think about when I was away myself, I always longed to come back home. No matter what part of the world or what part area that I was in, I always wanted to come back to Capital City because of the love, the affection, the nurturing, the things that we did. I mean, there's so much I could talk about that we did. The drill team. When I was younger, I was on the drill team. We had basketball. Like it was said earlier, we traveled everywhere. We were just so active. It was always about community. And so that makes me always want to keep coming back and inviting others to get that same joy that we had when we were growing up.
I see the passion, but I see the memories. I can hear it in your voice, the excitement. So, but let's go all the way back to the history. All right, let's go back to history. Let me pull out a picture here. A little history here, and then the pioneers you have here. You have a bunch of ladies. Can you tell me who these ladies are?
So to my left, that was the treasurer, Sister Nett Mobley, for 37 years. And this week I went and I spoke with Sister Mobley. Sister Mobley was just an ordinary woman. And when I spoke with Sister Mobley, I just wanted to get a little bit more history financially. And when she told me that we saved $500,000.
Praise God.
$500,000 we saved doing some work. And I'll get into that a little bit later. That's Olivia Rory next to Sister Mobley.
Okay.
Olivia Rory was an activist. I learned so much about her later on. But Olivia Rory would come to our home, sit down, talk. She was a go-getter. She was an activist in the community. She was one of the ladies. There's a center named downtown after her. She was one of the ladies that I learned years ago. They would not pick up the garbage in the black areas. And she was one of them that would go down to City Hall. They were called the Brothers. And she was part of them. Even though she was a woman, she was part of the Brothers that would advocate to get the garbage picked up. And years ago, we picked up our garbage. Our garbage was picked up for free. It's just recently that we're paying for our garbage. And she was one of the ladies that helped out with that.
Now, was that Elder Rory's wife?
No. They're related. Someone else could go in. I don't really know the dynamics of the family, but someone else that would be able to tell you, who's who. I think it was, I don't even want to get into give wrong information, but they're related somehow.
Okay,
yeah.
And who's the next one?
That beautiful woman, that's my mother.
Your mother.
That's my mom. So my mom, I could speak on her. My mom was
It's okay. Take your time.
She was very active in the church. She was a Martha Stewart before her time. She was a go-getter. She would always say, there are people who know book but don't know chapter. My mom was a seamstress. She was a cook. She was a community-driven person. She loved children. I learned that years ago back in the island, she was a school teacher. She was just so active. She was dedicated. She was devoted to her church. My mom, I looked at my mom, she would sleep with the black and white composition book. She was a superintendent that I know for years. And my mom wrote every detail down. She was all about organization. When it came to the church, you had to give your best. If you couldn't give your best, she didn't want it. She had a certain word that she would say. She doesn't like things chaka. And so she was very organized. She would organize bus trips. She would organize selling roti. She used to make good roti, and not just because she was my mom. She would bake. Then we would have bake sales. We would have time for when it was the workshop, the Sabbath school workshop. She would organize so that the folks that came to the workshops would come down to the church. These were all fundraisers.
Now that's when the workshops were in Albany, correct?
That's when they were in Albany.
Yeah.
She would, little books, little carving things, bricks to save money. She was just an organizer. And as I sat back and looked, I followed. I didn't think that I would follow in her footsteps as far as staying in the church. But that's where I realized that's the gift that was given to her, that she didn't have to go to school for.
Praise God. So who's the next one?
That's Sister Andre.
Sister Andre. And who's this one?
That's Sister Bickley.
Bickley.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's Sister Angel. And that's Sister Simmons. And that's our Dorcas leader back then, Sister Burkett.
Sister Burkett.
Yes. That's Elder Burkett's mother.
Mother, okay.
And that's Sister Brown. That's Eugenia Brown.
Eugenia Brown.
She was the pianist. She would be the pianist for me for Vacation Bible School.
Oh.
And Sister Brown was a piece of work. She was a funny piece of work. They all are good ladies, had a lot to offer. They taught us so much. You know how it says that the old should teach the young?
Yes.
And that's what they did. They helped mold us. And there's one lady that's not on there. Her name is Rosa Kilby. When I was growing up, Sister Kilby, I will never forget, she was a librarian. She would pull me to the side, and she said, I see something in you. I see something strong in you. She said, stand up straight. Tuck your shoulders in and walk upright. You are somebody. And Sister Kilby, she says, when you get up in front of the church, I want you to look down, look at your words, and then look up at the congregation. Do not be afraid to speak out. Those are the ladies that I grew up with. And I could be here all day.
So
I'm just cutting the chase here, but there's so much. There's so many other ladies that came after them. The love and the foundation. We were family. My mom, and I don't know how many minutes I have, but I'm going to share this with you. My mom, our home was open to everyone. When any pastors, and I could go back to say that started from my grandmother, but everyone that came through, any pastor that came through our house, I hear people when I'm going to camp meeting, they'll say, hey, I know Sister Johnson's daughter, and they would come up to me and say, I stayed at your house. Our house was open. The love. If we just had peanut butter and jelly, which we didn't, because we had, on Sabbath, God always bless you with good food. So we would always, our home was open to everyone. That's the fellowship I grew up with. We ate at church, yes. We ate at church. We came together, but we would go to each other's home. We would have meetings together, and you could bet we could go to a basketball game on Saturday night, but come on Sunday morning, you're getting up and you're doing something constructive that contains to the church. I mean, I have so much to say about Capital City. That's why I'm back at Capital City.
So it sounds like all these women, these great women, I don't know them per se, but it sounds like they played an impactful role in your development throughout the years here at Capital City.
I would definitely say that. And to say even from Sister Kilby, the positions that I held working in the human service field was because of her. Because of her. I've been into positions where you had to have a master's degree. And it was because of the foundation that was laid in the Adventist Church in Capital City. I was able to work in certain positions.
All right. Well, praise God for that. Praise God. One more question. Let's talk about one of your favorite memories here at Capital City. Throughout sounds like you've been here for over 40 years.
Yep.
So let's talk about one of your favorite memories here at Capital City. I know you mentioned the choir days. I know you mentioned the meetings, the events. What is one of the greatest memories you have here of Capital City Seventh-Day Adventist Church?
I don't know. That's a hard question.
That's a hard question?
That's a hard question because there were so many.
There's so many. Did you get married at the church?
No, I did not.
Usually somebody would say that would be the happiest.
No, I did not. I did not get married at the church. But because you said that, I want to say this, that leading up, I did not get married, but when you invite community, so my husband was not an Adventist, but there were brothers that attend Capital City. And so years ago, in order for them, the outsiders, to participate, they would come to church. They would have to come to Capital City. They would have to come to AY, be a participant in the church. And so he knew a little of the church, but not as much. So I just said that to say it's always good to invite others because you just never know.
You never know.
You just never know.
You never know. Sometimes we can be entertaining angels, and we don't know. That's why you have to be nice to everyone, instructive to everyone, because you never know who you're dealing with. But here's the thing. Going back to homecoming, this year, 2025, May 23rd to 25th, Memorial Day weekend. What is our goal?
Our goal, as we could see what's going on in the world today, our goal is and should be to bring back those who have left, to go and seek them out. It's time. It's no time for fun and games anymore. We need to bring our families back to church, to bring our families back to God, because we want them to go to heaven with us. No one wants to go to heaven by themselves and leave their families alone, down here in this wicked world, because we see what's going on. The 2025, it's time. It's time.
It's time. Well, we want to thank you, Sister Murdock, for joining us today. And we want to thank you for tuning in as we, in another episode of our 67th Homecoming Anniversary. Our theme for that weekend is going to reflect on the prodigal son over at Luke 15. We're going to focus on two things. The main one is two main points we'll have during that weekend. We're going to focus on the son that left and then the son that stayed home. So we hope for you to stay tuned and join us in that weekend. Have a good night.